Hi class, and today we're going to be starting our brand new social studies unit, and it is going to be all about California. But in order to learn about California, we actually have to be able to locate it on a map. And so I want to know how many of you guys have used or seen a map before? Very good. Yeah, a lot of people, I think almost the entire class, has used or seen a map before. So, we're actually going to learn today all about how to read a map, the parts of a map, and we're even going to maybe create our very own map. And so, we're going to be doing that. But to start off, I'm going to be reading you guys a fun little book. And I really like this book. It's a lot of fun, and it is called There's a Map on My Lap. And yes, that is Dr. Seuss on there. So I'm going to be reading this story to you guys today, and then we're going to get started with our lesson. So let's see. As I read, I want you to pay attention to some of the words that are going to be used. Now, there may be some vocabulary words popping up in there, so I want you guys to be very, very careful and listen with good listening ears. So let's get started. So it starts with, I'm the cat in the hat, and I'm happy to say there's a map on my lap. Let's get on our way. We will travel the world, see the whole USA, and still we'll be back home by the end of the day. So they're off going to start on their journey. Awesome. Maps are drawings that help to find out where you are and where you're going, no matter how far. When map makers make maps, they must first decide who will be using the map and what it needs to do. Then it says at the bottom, cartographer is just a more formal name for a map maker, but both their jobs are the same. So he has a big map there ready to get started. The map of the Earth that we use most of all is a globe. Like the Earth, it is round as a ball. Peel the skin off of an orange and lay it out flat. A map of the Earth would look something like that. Then he's got little words down here. It says longitude. These are longitude lines which run up and down. And latitude lines go around and around. Now, if maps were the size of the places they show, map makers would run out of paper, and so a chart called a scale makes maps easy to use, shrinking miles into inches on each map that you choose. Then it tells you right here, a scale makes everything smaller and helps you and me carry the world around easily. Look at that. The map maker is over there. This is the map maker right here. And look, he's got a scale at the bottom. Very cool. You can make a map of far-off places you roam, or a map called a plan of your very own home. We use this scale, 1 inch equals 3 feet. It helped us do something we both think is neat. We drew our whole room so it fits on 1 sheet. Look at that. They drew their own room and it fits on 1 sheet, right? Oops, right there. Look at that. There are 4 main directions. All maps have got them. North is on top, south down at the bottom. If you look to the right, that is where east will be. Look to the left, and it's west that you see. So he's got his compass rose. North, you have north, south, east, and west. To remember all 4, here is one easy way. Never eat soggy wheat is what I always say. I have here an atlas. Come on, take a look. You'll find lots of maps, and they're all in this book. So an atlas is a book, right? That holds lots of what? That's right, it holds lots of different maps. Very good. Sometimes maps use pictures to show where things are. A capital city is marked with a star. A tent shows a campsite. Tracks show where a train is. To get to the airport, just find where a plane is. Right, and so there's the map, And it says down here, a legend. A chart called a legend, if you look carefully, will list and explain each picture you see. So we've got a legend, right? And you've got the star as the capital city. The train tracks, right, go all the way around. The airport is right there and the campsite is right here. So the legend tells us what each of these little signs means. Some maps use colors to tell you a lot. I used blue where it's cold and red where it's hot. He even has it on his legend. Look at that. I made deserts light brown and jungles bright green. The legend will show you what these colors mean. So we've got legends and lots of different colors, cold and hot, right? Marine charts help boaters. These maps let them know if a rock, reef, or sandbar is hiding below. When you visit a city where you've never been, a city map helps you know where to begin. And here at the bottom it says, here is a map we both carry around. It shows where the subway runs under the ground. So, right, we have two different other kinds of maps. There's so many different maps out there. We got marine maps, city maps, a map to show the subways. Let's see what else there is. Topographical maps are the kind hikers like. They use them to choose which direction to hike. They show where the land rises hilly and steep or goes down into valleys all rocky and deep. And then it says, it's a big world we live in. Here's one way to hold it. Pick up a map and then simply fold it. Right? That's the good thing about maps is you can fold them. Dot maps like this one are covered with dots. Some have a few dots, but others have lots. Each dot stands for something. On this map you see, each dot stands for one frizzle-frazzled frizzee. Most frizzies live up north where their haircuts are free. Look at that. So all those dots and everything are there. When you look at a map, it's important to see there is more than one way from point A to point B. Firefighters use maps when they go fight a fire. The short way around would take them down Vogel to Vire, but traffic on Vire can be a disaster. So they chose a long way that's also much faster, right? So look at that. Firefighters got to get to the fire down here, but taking this street would just be too much, so they go around. When you want to go from Fazode to Fazend, you can measure the miles, for the road does not bend, right? But in order to go from Fazode to Fazing on the 15th of May for the big Fazing Sing, the road twists and turns, so look at that. You've got Fazode to Fazing, right? And all of those twisty roads. Let's see what we got to do. So first cut off some string. Put it down on the road all the way to Fazing. Then take out your ruler and measure the string. The scale on this map helps you see that it's far. 1 inch equals 10 miles, so you should take a car. So she cut out the string, she laid it out, she measured it, found out that it's a lot, and is going to take a car to the Great Fazing Sing. Or the Big Fazing Sing. Use this trick to read maps. You'll be glad that you did. Some are covered with lines. This is known as a grid. There are letters on top. Numbers run down the side. Want to find where you are? Let the grid be your guide. Trace a line down from A. Look across to line 4. The lines cross at A4 at your very own door. We are having a party. We're waiting for you. Take a look at the grid. There's our house at E2. Look at that. Very good. Almost done. Here is a map that I just got today. It's a puzzle map showing the whole USA. Puzzle maps come in pieces, and here's the best part. You could put them together or take them apart. Look at that, he's got a puzzle. Love puzzles. Here's a question we can't wait to ask you. What state is the largest? Well, it's this one, Alaska. Now, which one of the states do you think is the smallest? You're right, it's Rhode Island, the smallest of allest. Awesome. Here's a game that we play, so feel free to play too. What does each of the 50 states look like to you? Michigan looks like a scarf and a mitten. Looks like there's a scarf and the mitten. Louisiana looks like a chair you could sit in. And he's sitting in Louisiana. I think it looks like a boot, but could be a chair also. You will have great adventures your whole life, and so I give you these maps of the places you'll go. You may travel the world, but no matter how far, with a map on your lap, you will know where you are. You can always use maps. They will help you in knowing where you have been and just where you are going. And look at that. So, that was just a short little story. There's a map on my lap. Now, I asked you guys to pay attention to some of the words that were being used. So, can anybody name some of the words that were in there? Maybe some vocabulary words that could show up? Yeah, that's right. We had a compass rose, right? That one was towards the bottom or on one of these pages. Look at that, a compass rose. And a compass rose shows what? That's right, it shows direction. Very good. It shows the directions. It shows north and south and east and west. Very good. What other words do you think would show up? Yeah, right? All of those little things. So even these ones, longitude and latitude. Longitude lines go which way? That's right, they stretch all the way up, and it says it right there. They run up and down, and so latitude does the opposite, and it goes straight across. So very good. Let's do one more. That's right, a scale. You guys are so good. So we have a scale. I gotta find the page where it talks about a scale, but oh, here it is. A scale makes everything smaller, right? And remember, he has it right here. His scale is 1 inch equals 100 miles. So it shows just how far things are. Helps make maps smaller, right? So we can actually carry it around. Because if a map was the actual size of the place, we wouldn't be able to carry them around. We'd run out of space all the time. Whoa, I'm rhyming like Dr. Seuss. But we would run out of space. So that's really what a scale is for, is to help make things smaller. So very good. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. And now we're going to get started and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those vocabulary words. We're going to go through them and I'm going to show you guys some pictures, some examples of the vocabulary words that are out there and the ones that we have been or the ones that I want you to learn about. Now these are going to show up on our word wall. I will put these up on the word wall and we are going to be writing these down, but I just want you guys to see just an example of what we are going to be doing. So you guys actually found some of the words in that story. There's a map on my lap, and so you guys found some of them, and of course the first one that we talked about was the compass rose. Now a compass rose looks just like this, and a compass rose actually deals with telling us the direction of things. So it tells us north and south and east and west that are on a map, so that way we always know which way is facing up, because otherwise we wouldn't know which way to go, right? I could be holding a map upside down and I wouldn't know that actually I would be all sorts of turned around. So north is always facing up towards the North Pole. We'll talk about the North Pole another day, but this is a compass rose. They look all sorts of different. This one looks similar to the one that was in our book, but this one is a little different. Now, compass rose, how many of you guys have used a compass before? Right? And we've talked about compasses in science, right? Where we talked about how it points, the magnet in a compass will point north. It will always point towards north. And so we have the compass rose right here, and it'll look something like this. Some of them look a little bit more ornate or fancy, and some of them will look really easy. I've drawn them where they're just kind of across. Okay, very good. Our next word is going to be one of those words about lines. And so we have longitude. Longitude was the first one we talked about, right? Now, longitude, I want everybody to repeat the phrase that's right here after I say it. After I say it, you're going to repeat it. So, I want you to say longitude. That's right, longitude. And then I want you to say launch for longitude. Very good. Launch for longitude. And then I want you guys to take your hands and I want you to go like this. Awesome. So launch for longitude. I want you to think up, right? If we are launching, we're going straight up. And so that's what longitude lines do. They go straight up and down. As opposed to the opposite of longitude is what's called latitude. Now, everybody say latitude. Very good, latitude. Now, lat rhymes with the word flat. So I want you to remember that latitude lines lay flat. And I want everybody to take their hands and I want you to say that, what was it? Oh, here it is. Lat lays flat. Okay, so you're going to take both hands. It's going to go lat lays flat. Awesome. And lat and flat, right, go right across here. They are horizontal lines. Latitudes are horizontal lines that are imaginary that go through the earth. So latitude and longitude are two lines, two sets of lines that are imaginary that go through the earth. Longitude, right, we want to launch up for longitude, and then we want to remember that lat lays flat, right? So we launch for longitude, and then we have lat lays flat. Awesome, good job. Now we have some special latitude and longitude lines. We're going to start with the latitude line. The special latitude line, anybody know what it's called? We didn't have it in our story, but maybe some of you would know. Well, I'll give you a hint. It starts with an E, and it splits the earth in half, and it is called the That's right, it's called the equator. Everybody say equator. Awesome. And the equator, look at that picture. It's the earth with a cool little belt around it. And so it goes right across the middle. The equator is the latitude line that goes straight across the middle. And it cuts the earth in half. Cuts the earth into two parts, a top part and a bottom part. And so the equator is a latitude line that cuts straight across the middle. Now the opposite of the equator is the prime meridian. Now the prime meridian is a longitude line, right? Because it goes straight up. It's a longitude line that goes straight through the middle of the earth. Now, you're going to notice that there are lots of longitude lines, and we can always pick any of them, and it'll always cut the earth in half. This one runs through England. So if you were to look at it very carefully, you would see that England is right there, and so it is the longitude line that's cutting straight through England. And so the prime meridian cuts the earth into two parts, right? Cuts it into a left side and a right side. So that's what we're going to be talking about, right? So we have the prime meridian. Everybody say prime meridian. Awesome, wonderful, good. Another thing that was talked about in the book was a scale. Now, this scale is a little bit different, right? It's similar to the one that he used, right? It says 1 inch equals 3,000 miles. And so what we would do, and we're going to learn about this later on, but what we would do is we would take our ruler. Now this one's going to be a little different because this obviously isn't 1 inch, but we would take our ruler and we're going to measure. And we're going to measure, and so it says 1 inch is 3,000 miles. So we would have 2 inches would be 6,000 miles, 3 inches would be 9,000 miles, and so on. And so scales, we're going to go over how to do them another day, but they help make the maps. That's right, it makes them smaller. I talked about it in the book. It makes the maps smaller so we can carry them around. Our next word is the legend. Very good. So we talked about a legend, right? So a legend talks about or tells us what the different symbols or colors mean on a map. So this is a legend about the atlas page. It's got the city, it's got mountains, it's got highways and roads, lakes and dry lakes. Look at that. It even has dry lakes. So it tells us what each line means, what color line, because all the lines are a little different. It's got little things like triangles that tell us that it's a mountain, or a circle means a city. We've got, let's see, we've got this cool little blue little puddle thingy, means a lake or a reservoir. So legends help us a lot figure out what things mean on a map and what these colors mean. Now, legends can show colors, they can show lines, they can show symbols. Legends have all sorts of things that they could tell us in a map. That way we know where everything is without having to draw it out or write out the names. The next word we have is location. Everybody say location. Good. And so right here we have a little pin thing, I guess you could call them, that you have on your phone sometimes when you're on the Maps app or something. And so location is simply a given place on a map. Right? It's the place that we're looking for. It's the place that's labeled. So locations can be cities, locations can be where people are, it could be where we can find something, it could be a store. A location, depending on what we're looking for, is going to be found on a map. And so we always point the location out on the map. And so we're going to be finding locations later on in class, and then we're also going to be making locations later on in class as well, and figuring out where those locations are going to be. But this is a location. And finally, we're going to be using a specific kind of map, and that is a coordinate grid map. Now, coordinate grid maps look kind of similar, right? We've seen something like this before. Where have we seen something like this? That's right, we've seen them in math. Math has coordinate grids, right? We talked about coordinate grids, X and Y, and finding things. So we're going to be doing the same similar thing with coordinate grid maps. So we're going to be finding areas on our coordinate grid with using the way that we did with math. So what they did is they took a coordinate grid and they put a map right behind it. Right? And so all of these lines, we've got longitude lines going up and down all the way across, then we got latitude lines going across, and so we're going to be using this coordinate map to help us find some things, and we're going to learn how to read a coordinate grid map, which hopefully we remember from math because that is very similar. So what we're going to be doing now is we are going to be talking about how to find an area on a coordinate grid map. Now, I'm going to put up a picture of a coordinate grid map, and I want you guys to tell me or remind me maybe, how did I find something on a coordinate grid map? Good, so we can see the map, and now I want you guys to remind me, what did I use to tell you in math when we were learning how to read the coordinates given to us? That's right, it was you had to walk across to the ladder before you could go up the ladder, right? So that always told you that you read the number that was across first and then you went up. So we're going to do the same thing here, but you're going to notice, right, that on this map you have letters and you have numbers. So we're going to go across first and then we're going to go up. So let's say that I wanted to find on this map where the zebras are, right? So we have a map of a zoo, and I want to find, where are the zebras, right? So first thing I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to go across because we said we have to go across our ladder before we could go up it. So we need to go across. The zebras are found how many parts or how many squares across our grid? Let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, right? Because it's in that third column. So we've got 3 across. And now let's see if we're going up and down now, what letter is that one going to be? That's right, it is 3F. The zebras are found in the Lincoln Park Zoo at square 3F. Very good. Now let's look at the flower garden. Let's say I want to go see the flower garden. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go which way? Am I going to go up or am I going to go across? That's right, I am. I'm going to go across. So I'm going to go across, and how many across do I go? 1, 2. Very good, because it's in that second column. Now we're going to see how many up, or what letter when I go up and down are we at? Very good, we're at letter B. So the flower garden is found at 2B. Wonderful. So the next thing I'm going to look for is the lions. Where are the lions going to be? That's right, it's 3C. You guys are so good at this. You guys remember from math that we go across to the ladder first, then we go up the ladder in order for us to go up the ladder. So what I'm going to do now is, before we can go and move on to our next thing, and I'm going to give you guys a worksheet, I want you guys to remind me, which way do we go first when we read a coordinate grid or a coordinate grid map? That's right, we go across first and then we go up. So, right, we go across to our ladder. We have to walk to our ladder before we can go up the ladder, before we can climb up the ladder. Very good, you guys. So, I want you guys to tell me, show me right now before we move on, show me with your thumbs how well you guys know or understand what we're talking about here on how to read coordinate map or coordinate grid map. So thumbs up means awesome, I got it. Thumbs in the middle or somewhere in the middle is kind of like, I kind of get it, but there are some things that I could still work on, and down means I just don't get it at all. Awesome. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to give everybody a piece of paper. It's going to be a coordinate grid map, and we're going to be working on it together as a class. Okay, so wait for Miss Monochmal to pass it out to you guys before you guys start doing anything. Okay, so just leave it on your desk, and that way we can see what's going on. All right, so Miss Monochmal's handed out a map for everybody, right? It should look just like this, called Make a Grid Map, and it should look just like this. So, and then you should have also gotten this, which is a bunch of squares with different pictures on it. So let's go ahead and look at this. I want you guys, the first thing you're going to do is you are going to obviously, well not obviously, but you are going to fill in the letters and the numbers. So let's go, which way do we go first when we read a grid map? That's right, we go across first. So let's fill in the letters across. So I'm going to fill in the letters across. I want you guys to do the same thing while I'm doing that. Or the numbers, sorry, they're numbers. Good, so we filled them in. It should have gone 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have all of those across. Then the next thing we do when we have a grid map is we read up, right? Just like longitude lines shoot straight up, we are going to go up. So let's look here. We are going to fill in. Now we have, if A is up here, what is this going to be? That's right, it's going to be B. And then after B, so below B is going to be, that's right, it's going to be C, and then after C is D, and after D is E. That's right. So fill it in just like I have filled it in. Thank you for doing it with me, right? Talking me through this. You guys are so great. So let me show you what to do, and then you are going to do it. So I'm going to give you guys some time right now that I filled it out. I want you guys to fill it out as well. It should look just like this with 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here, and then we've got A, B, C, D, and E right there. All right, so you guys have had some time to do that. The next thing you're going to be doing is, before you do anything, let me tell you guys what we're going to be doing, and then I'm going to show you guys what you're going to be doing, and then I want you guys to do it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the instructions, and I'm also going to write the instructions on the board so you know what we are supposed to be doing. So what you're going to do first is you are going to take your pictures and you are going to cut them out nice and neatly on these black lines. Now remember, when we're using scissors, how do we use scissors? Right, you hold them in your hand properly. Do we run with scissors? No, we don't run with scissors. Do we play with scissors like swords? No, we don't play with scissors like swords. We are very, very careful because they are very dangerous. They can be very dangerous. So we're going to cut out our squares, okay? And when you're done, so go ahead and cut out your squares right now. I'm going to let you guys cut out your squares while Miss Monochmo cuts out her squares too. All right, good. So I've watched you guys. You guys have been cutting out your squares nice and good. So, right, they should look like this after you cut out your squares. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take your squares and you are going to glue them onto any square that you see here. So I want you guys to glue them nice and carefully onto any of the squares here. After you're done doing that, I want you guys to carefully and nice and neatly cut around here so we don't need the name part, and I do want you guys to cut down the side just a little bit, maybe down the bottom, so it fits inside your social studies notebook. All right, this is going to go in our notebook. It's going to remind us about all the different kinds of things that we have been learning so far today. So I'm going to give you guys some time to do that. So you're going to glue all of those pieces in there, and then you're going to put it in your notebook, okay? So when you're done, it should look something like this, okay? So here's mine. Here it's going to look something like this. So this is what mine looks like after I finished it. I did do it ahead of time. And then you're going to glue it in there and you're going to actually write on the bottom the places that you put each one. So look at this, the police. I put the police at square 2A, right? Because I go across first and then I went all the way up. So it's at 2 and then I go up to A, and that's where it is. We have 2A. And I said the firefighter is at 3A. So I went across 3 and then I went up to A. So, right, we have across 3, and using our other hand, we're going to go up to A and we're going to go until they meet. Right? So that's a great way to figure it out. If you're not sure where it is, what you can do is you could take one finger and you're going to use that finger as you go across. So let's say I want to find where the tree is. So I'm going to go across until I'm underneath the column that the tree is at. So we're here. And then I'm going to start here. Or I'm going to go up with my other hand and my other finger, and I'm going to go up until I reach the line or the row that has a tree. So I'm going to do this. Oh my goodness. So what I can do is I'm going to have them meet, and that's where it is. It's at 4, because I went across first, B, right? So that's where it is. So that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to put them in your own spot and then name where you put them right here for your notebook. I'm going to give you guys some time to do that. And then we have one more step before you guys are allowed to go out. You have one more step before your exit ticket is complete. This is part of your exit ticket. So you have one more step. I'm going to give you guys some time to do this though. So continue working quietly, and I'm going to come around and check on you guys to make sure that you guys are okay and you guys are doing well. All right, it looks like most of you guys are done or close to done with this grid map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys your last part of your exit ticket before you can get out of class and head out to recess. So what you need to do is I want you guys to open up your notebook. That way you can write something on the other side. That way when we open our notebook, we can see, hey, this is talking about coordinate grid maps, and then it's going to teach us all sorts of different things. So you're going to open it up, and on this side, which should be the left side of your notebook, I want you guys to write 3 things. So I have them in 3 different colors. The first thing I want you to do is I want you guys to write coordinate grid map. That's what we have been learning about, coordinate grid map. And what can somebody read that for me? Tell me what it says. That's right, it says it is a map with a grid used to locate areas on a map, right? So it's a grid used to locate things on a map. So, right, we have our grid here that's used to help us locate different areas. Next, our next word is coordinate. Now, coordinate, I didn't go over in vocabulary, but coordinate is similar to location. Coordinate is a set of values that show a position. So, we wrote down coordinates here, down here. These are the coordinates. So what you could do is you could take your green crayon and actually write these in green. If you wrote them down already, then you could actually trace them or do something else, but have it match this color right here. So if I were doing it, I would have it match in green. And maybe this right here, which is red, I would probably like outline this in red to help me remember that this is a coordinate grid map. And this is the coordinate, the area values that we were looking for. And then the last thing I want you guys to do is probably the biggest thing I wrote on this page. And it is telling us that when we are reading a grid map, we have to read which way first, class? That's right, it says across. We need to read across first, then we go up. And I used and I kept my wonderful phrase from before, go across to the ladder, then you can go up the ladder. Okay, and I even put little squigglies around it to help me remember, but that's what you are going to be doing. So, to leave the classroom to go to recess, you must finish this part right here. I want you guys to keep that and remember it. So use different colors. And then the other part is to complete the grid map itself. I want you guys to be able to see that, hey, you guys put these in the right spot, and then this is what we are doing. Right? So, very good job, right? We have lots of vocabulary. We went through a lot of things today. We even read a story, but you guys did a great job today. So, before you can leave, make sure you raise your hand and let me look at your notebook before I let you go out to recess. Very good job, guys. Have a great day.